So what are some things that you believed would be different about your life, and as you tried them, you found out they weren't true at all? Today, from my own recovery journey, I want to share with you 5 myths, things that I believe to be true in my journey away from porn that actually didn't help me and turned out to be very, very false. Today, 5 myths about porn recovery.
Guys ready?
When it comes to porn, are you stuck, spinning out, or slipping backwards in your life? If so, then welcome to the Finding Traction podcast, a show dedicated to those who are looking to gain recovery momentum away from porn and toward the life and relationships they have always hoped for. Now, here's your host, Vern Tomke.
Well, welcome to the Finding Traction podcast. Vern Tomke here. And I was going to get all dolled up for this YouTube video, which is also, of course, a podcast. But for those of you who aren't seeing me, I wasn't really ready. So I figure, like most of us guys, heck, I'll just put a hat on and that will cover over a multitude of sins. So here we go. And I want to share with you some things just along the way have not served me well in my own recovery. If you go on to my website, bandofbrothers.care, you will hear more about my personal story. In fact, I encourage everybody to check that out. It's a way to find out more about the curriculum, Finding Traction. It's a way to access the podcast. It's also a way to get more resources. If you go to the free section, you'll be able to download some great resources. I know I'm starting to get more and more people now that are signing up for my email list, which I really appreciate. So it's great to be able to connect with more people as well. But, you know, when we started out this, I shared about how this has been a lifelong struggle for me in my teens, in my 20s, in my 30s, in my 40s. And now as I near the end of my 50s, it's been something that's also marked my 50s. I'm praying and hoping that my 60s it will not. And but I want to share just some ideas that things that I believed would help me, or things that were told to me, you know, that if this happens or you do this, then you're going to be fine and you won't struggle anymore. And I speak for a living. And I was really happy when I thought of these 5 things, and they all started with the same letter, because that is, you know, means a lot to me when I can put them in a nice, neat package. And so I want to share with you 5 myths, all that start with the letter M, that were not helpful or did not really serve me well in terms of breaking free or moving away from porn. And here's the first one. The big M, the first M, is, you got it, masturbation. Now, of course, most of us discovered that when we were 10 or a little bit older. And, you know, it was like, wow, our bodies can do that. That was quite a discovery. And, you know, one of the things is I started to, you know, not just be involved in masturbation, but also move into porn. Those two became very much linked in my mind. Now, I would masturbate without porn, but when I had porn, I would always masturbate. And, you know, over time, those things became linked. And I remember someone saying to me, and let me just say, this is not a whole teaching on throttling the chicken or whatever you want to call it. You know, that's another whole subject. I'm only speaking to you from my experience as somebody who sought to find a way away from porn. I knew that porn wasn't good for me, even when I was in my teenage years. And this is what I thought at some point. You know what? Maybe what I'll do is I will engage in masturbation, and it will simply release me physically, provide a physical release, and then I won't turn to porn. It's a great theory. It just, for me and a lot of people I talked to, was not effective. And here's the reason. The reason is that for me, porn and masturbation were so linked in my brain. So whenever, even if I would use porn, even if I used masturbation just physically, it would always lead me to wanting porn. So using, masturbation as a tool or a technique to avoid porn, for me, was completely ineffective. It was not a tool of self-control for me, and it was a lousy way to find sexual freedom. So that's the first myth. The first M was really trying to simply say, okay, all I'm going to do then is use masturbation as a tool to keep me away from porn. Didn't work and was not effective for me. And most guys find that doesn't really work as a tool for them either. Now, here's the second one. And this is one that almost any guy I've heard will believe or think of when it comes to hoping that their life changes. And it's the myth of marriage. We're all familiar with it because we all think, well, if I can just hang on until I'm married, then this won't be a problem anymore. Because heck, I'll be able to have sex whenever I want it. Well, I hate to tell you this, but you're probably not going to have sex whenever you want it. I know that's a big shock for some of you single people hoping to get married, but that's the truth. Other people I've talked to say when they have sex, it only makes them want to view porn even more. Okay, here's the thing. Porn and sex and marriage are completely different things. They're completely different animals. Marriage is about one woman. Porn is about novelty. Sex and marriage or a committed relationship is about giving and receiving. Porn is about arranging things just like you like. Marriage and sex in marriage is all about intimacy. Porn is all about fantasy. Almost every guy I've talked to who struggled with porn before marriage find themselves struggling with porn after marriage. It might, take them 3 months, 6 months, a year, but invariably they seem to return to porn because it meets an entirely different set of needs. And just being married, even if you could have it every time you wanted, doesn't take away from the pull to porn. So I hate to pop your balloon on marriage, but that for me and for many guys was a huge myth that just did not turn out to be true. Now here's the third one. The myth of memorization. Some of you say what? Okay, now this one is a little bit down the rabbit hole for those of you who are involved in conservative Christianity, like myself and how I was raised. You were raised that the Bible and the truth of the Bible has power, and it in itself is something that if you use, it will provide you that mechanism that you can live beyond any pull or temptation. And so, oftentimes, well-meaning spiritual people tell people like, well, all you need to do is memorize a few Bible verses, and then the temptation, the devil, whatever it is, will run away and you'll be fine. It's almost like the doctor saying, take 2 verses and call me in the morning. I'm not against memorizing truth. I'm not against memorizing the Bible. In fact, I've memorized quite a few verses in my years. No temptation has seized you except what is common to man. And God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you're tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can stand up under it. You see, I'm really good at that. But here is why I call it a myth. And I'm not denigrating the Bible, in case you mishear me. The idea that simply saying a Bible verse will somehow inoculate you from all of your history, all of your habits, and all of the things that you deal with, I think is highly simplistic and sets people up for failures. Yes, memorization can be a part of maybe your strategies, But I think if it's seen as in somehow a magic bullet, I would put that under the area of a myth. Plus, it starts with the letter M. Okay, here's another one. And this is just taking the Christian pathway and putting it on steroids. I will minister my way out of it. Now, that's just a fancy religious sounding word for I will do good deeds. I will spend my life in giving and service. I will become a full-time Christian worker, or I will become a priest, or I will become someone. And if I simply spend my life serving others and ministering to them, then that will somehow inoculate me from the pulls, and pressures that come along with sexual brokenness. Well, unfortunately, if you know anything about the Catholic Church and priests, that didn't work real well for them. Not just dissing my Catholic friends and brothers. You could say the same thing for Protestants or any other religion. Just ministry in itself will not inoculate you or take you away from all of the struggles that you will deal with in your life, especially if you have a history around struggling with porn. So ministry is not the answer. Okay, now here is the last one. I will mature my way out of this. Now, or as the British would say, I will mature my way out of this. This is the idea that I guess it could be a couple things. It could be the idea that as I grow older, well, I guess let's just go with that one. As I grow older, this will somehow fade away. And you go, okay, well, how much older? If you're in your 20s, will it be in your 30s where it's not as big of big of an issue? If you're in your 40s, if I can only get to my 50s. If you're 50s, well, if I can just get out of, not having all this work pressure, then I won't have to deal with this. Here is the challenge. The challenge is simply this. It's true that as you get older, your body does change. I'm not as sexually primed up at 59 as I was at 19. That is true. I'm not the same sexual person. But guess what hasn't changed? My mind. It hasn't changed one little bit. And this may sound highly depressing, but I work with guys in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s. I also work with guys in their 50s and 60s and 70s. And it doesn't look any different. Just being in your 50s, 60s, and 70s, it's just as big as an ongoing daily struggle for those guys as it is for people in their 20s and 30s. And you're going, give me a break. Please tell me as I get older, I won't have to deal with this. The answer is, if you're waiting to simply mature your way out of it, that is a myth. So, all I've done so far is to throw away all of those things that perhaps you were hoping on that would make the struggle easier. Maybe getting more mature, maybe growing older, maybe getting married, or something would happen in your life that would take away this struggle. And I'm here to pop the balloon on all of those myths and to say this. Whatever you're hoping that will change you as some sort of silver bullet is not going to work. The only thing that will work is for you to re-engage with the honest steps of honesty and humility and really getting down in the trenches and working with a group of men and saying, I want to change the trajectory of my life. And slowly and surely begin step by step by step to begin to change. Again, here's the good news. The good news is I've seen people change who are in their 60s and change the direction of their life. And they might have done something for 40 years and now they're living a whole new way. But on the other end, I've seen single guys or guys that are brand new in marriage make changes in their 20s. And they can change. Change is possible at every stage. But what will not change you is simply waiting for one of these magic pills to come and carry you away from all of your difficulties. Change is walked out one honest, humble step at a time with other brothers and sisters who are in the trenches with you. As we've often said, with the help of God and with the help of other people. And so I hope this, I hope it kind of pops some of the balloons that what you've been trying to do to have this thing magically taken away, or something is going to come and take this problem away so you're not going to have to deal with it. But I guess at a greater step, what I'm hoping is this, is that you will realize, you know what, the age I'm at right now, no matter what, 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever it is, the age I'm at right now is the perfect age for me to begin to walk the change in life I want, to begin to see, as we say in the opening, the life and the relationships that I've always dreamed of and I've always hoped for. So I'm glad you're part of this podcast. I'm glad you're part of this YouTube channel. I really encourage you to subscribe. Again, if you're on Finding Traction, hit subscribe. Or if you're on the YouTube channel, the bottom right, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. I'd love to hear from you. My email is bandofbrothers@shaw.ca. I'd love to see how I can help you, whether or not I can get some curriculum into your hands or sit down with you or do a Zoom call. One of the things I've said for anybody who wants to purchase the curriculum, I'd love to meet you in person and sit down and just hear a little bit more about your story and for us to be able to connect with one-on-one. And again, you can do that through the website. So God bless you. Have a great day walking away from both the myths and towards real truth and honesty in your life. See you later.